Holy Robert Pattinson! What's up, movie fans? Welcome to Men vs. Movies. I'm Griffin, as always, and today I'm going to be giving you my review for Good Time. So Good Time is directed by the Safdie brothers, Ben and Josh, and it's starring Robert Pattinson, Ben Safdie, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. So the film follows two brothers, Connie and Nick Nikas, Nick being mentally handicapped. After a bank robbery goes wrong involving the two, Nick finds himself in jail, and Connie embarks on a twisted nocturnal odyssey, as the synopsis here says, that takes him through the darkest corners of the crime underworld in New York City in order to get his brother out of prison. I absolutely loved Good Time. The first thing I'm just gonna say is if this film is playing anywhere near you, go see it. I can't give this film enough praise. It's so well made. This movie was definitely an experience unlike anything I've ever witnessed on screen before. It was truly miraculous. So let's get into some more details with some positives and then a few negatives that I had with the movie. Starting out with the positives here, Robert Pattinson is simply mesmerizing. He is unbelievable in this film. This is hands down the best performance that Robert Pattinson has ever given, and easily one of the best performances of the year, I might add. This is gonna be a common theme here that I echo, but you get sucked into his character and his journey through this criminal underworld in order to save his brother. And the best part is, he's such a complex character. Maybe not at first glance, but as the film progresses, you realize there's a lot more to this guy than what you initially thought. On one hand, he's incredibly unlikable, but on the other hand, he's doing these dastardly deeds out of love for his brother in order to try and save him. I think that Connie Nikas is by far one of the most fascinating characters that I've seen in a film all year. He's one that just sticks in your head even after you've left the theater. The next positive for this film is the direction and aesthetic. The direction and aesthetic of this film simply sucks you in like a black hole, and you end up sitting there simply mesmerized and in awe by what's going on screen. I mean, I was just glued to the screen from the get-go, and it's nearly impossible to look away. The colors, music, and medium of 35mm film are brilliantly used here, and they all contribute to the gripping and thrilling nature of the narrative. All of these elements especially work beautifully and harmoniously when they're being used to depict the utter chaos and anarchy that is being conveyed on screen. And I might add, the choice to shoot in 35mm film was once again a brilliant decision here by the director. It gave the film a dirty and gritty texture that complemented the dark and twisted nature of the film. One of my favorite creative choices that the directors made here was the opening to this film. I think the best way to describe this is that it was simply incredible, and it's one of the most unique ways I've seen opening credits done. In fact, it carries out for about 10 minutes and you don't realize you're still in the opening credits by the end of it. My next positive here is simply the fascinating and compelling nature of the narrative. At its core, it's discussing what people will do out of love for others. Pattinson, even though he's on a dark path, will do whatever it takes to help and save his brother. As his journey through the dark corners of the criminal underworld continues, his desperation becomes more and more apparent, leading to an edge-of-your-seat thrill ride that had me white-knuckled the entire time. And on the flip side, his mentally handicapped brother Nick ends up getting in trouble in the first place simply because he wants to do what he can to support and help Connie. This is all due to their deep brotherly bond and love that we see expressed throughout the beginning of this movie. The end credit song that plays perfectly captures the central themes and motifs that were conveyed throughout the film. Walking out of this movie, the first thing that came to mind is that it was very reminiscent of a modern, dark, and twisted Of Mice and Men, if you can picture that. The last positive I have here is the haunting, powerful, and driving score. It's very 80s in synth ways and greatly enhances the scenes where it's a very big part. This is one of those films where the score is incredibly apparent, and in fact it acts as a driving force, a central character, if you will, to this film. Kind of like Dunkirk. Alright, so moving on to the negatives now, because I only really have two minor ones. My first negative has to do with the character that was introduced about halfway through the movie. They kind of go through a mini montage to show his recent backstory and how it pertains to the central story at hand, and while I thought part of it was necessary, they could have just quickly touched on the important aspects of his backstory without all the excess. And then my last negative simply has to do with how much screen time Nick Nikas has. Pattinson's brother is showed quite a bit towards the beginning of this movie. In fact, it almost looks like he's going to be the main character, but as the story progresses, he is slowly slowly phased out, and I almost thought that they could have used a few more scenes with him in it. It definitely made sense in terms of the story that they were telling, but I think that he could have been integrated in the story just a little bit more, since it is truly a story about two brothers doing things out of love. And that's it, guys. I absolutely loved Good Time. I think it's hands down one of the best films of the year, maybe in my top 5 of the year. I can't recommend this movie enough. It is mesmerizing. It sucks you in. You have an incredible performance here from Robert Pattinson. The music, the cinematography, the aesthetic of this film is almost Blade Runner-esque, but of course it's not cyberpunk. It's just a really intense, thrilling crime drama. So with all of that, I'm ultimately going to be giving Good Time a very solid Armored Up. Thanks guys for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed my review of Good Time. If it is playing near you, go see it, for crying out loud. I fucking loved this movie. And if you have seen the movie, let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. And while you're down there, be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more movie reviews, movie-related content. Just look around here and you'll find something that you will enjoy. I guarantee it. And then be sure to like Men vs. Movies on Facebook and follow us on Twitter simply by searching Men v Movies. And lastly, guys, if you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can always give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right, that's going to do it for this review, guys. Until next time, take care.